everyone, this is Jennifer Dono with Young Female Entrepreneurs again, back for the after party. So if you're still with us, chat in, because this is all about you guys featuring it. We have it up on YouTube, and we're going to do some fun things with it. This is all a fun experiment to see what we can do and how we can feature young female entrepreneurs in different ways and connect with all of you. And it's some cool things has happened after our live streams through the after party. So I just wanted to give shout outs to everyone that came. Jules Young Tagger of KickstartKitchen.com. She's got the book club that everyone hopefully is in. If you go to KickstartKitchen.com/book club, you can get in there at Careful Sense. She's always got some awesome programs going on, a lot of solopreneur pieces. At Careful Sense, chat in if you have any cool things that we should mention. At Bren, B-R-E-Y-N. Am I pronouncing that right? She has the most gorgeous jewelry ever. You'll have to check her out. Follow her on Instagram and on Twitter and all those places. And is it Arisha? Odessa? You have to tell me if I pronounced your name right or not, because sometimes I mess that up. So anyway, today, at the Stacey Harris is going to join me for the after party, and we're both going to be on because we're going to talk about what went down during the live stream. So let's go ahead and welcome Stacey on. Welcome on to the after party, Stacey Harris.
Hi, everybody.
All right, so Stacey, what do you do? Who are you? All that fun stuff. I think a lot of people that are watching and are at the chat know who you are. Stacey is our social outreach girl during the live stream, but she's also founder, the head of HitTheMicMarketing.com.
Yes, I do online marketing and WordPress design for clients. We just launched our consulting packages, so you can work with me one-on-one, getting your whole rockstar strategy together. You can find those at HitTheMicMarketing.com/consulting. I'm super excited about them. They've been really, really fun. We just are finishing up our beta program, so you can get your official spots now.
I love it. And where the first official spots, get them now. Can you say one more time where you do that?
HitTheMicMarketing.com/consulting.
Consulting. Okay. Cool deal. Stacey always has some cool things going on, and was it on your personal profile or was it on your Facebook page that you were live Facebooking the Facebook?
I did it on both. I did it on my Twitter account mostly because I try not to bombard Facebook too much, but yeah, I was all over the place with the Facebook stuff this morning. And if you go to HitTheMicMarketing.com, you'll find in the blog, you'll find sort of a recap on the Google Plus changes and the Facebook announcement this morning.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I think tonight's after party should really just be dedicated to all those changes, because I don't know what's going on with that.
I've thought about them enough for one day.
Okay, look at this. Look, I just noticed this, that if I go like this, it's like playing peekaboo with Steve Jobs. Peekaboo. Stacey can't see it.
This is quality after party stuff right
Thank
here.
you. I thought so
Quality
too.
After party
I bet everyone that's watching is really appreciating this. So anyway, I don't know if anyone is on chat right now because Stacey just jumped off of at YF Entrepreneur. So I'm going to go ahead and take that over, Stacey. And our first question for everyone that's watching, so you can chat in if you're not on Twitter. If you are on Twitter, use the hashtag YFE Chat. If you go to tweetchat.com with YFE Chat, it's an easy way to follow people. Stacey, is that the way that you recommend people do it? I know that you've written a number of blog posts on the subject.
Yeah, that's the way I recommend doing it because it's super easy. And if you hit the little button that says refresh speed, you can control how quickly you get updates. So it's a little less overwhelming.
Yeah, that's what I really appreciate about that, is for people that are just getting started, they're able to like schedule them out. And the worst thing is when you're on your mobile phone trying to do the Twitter chats, it's always awful, right? It leaves people out and it doesn't refresh and it's always really hard. So anyway, the first question we're going to take on is, what are your takeaways from Britney Castro? And I'm going to go ahead and tweet that out, Stacey. So what were your biggest takeaways from it?
My biggest takeaway, I really loved the cable comment because I thought that was kind of interesting. But my big takeaway was that it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. I didn't separate my business and personal finances till last year, I'll be totally honest. And it made tax time so much easier this year that they were separate. Also, I got someone to do my taxes this year. All I did was put all my receipts and my paperwork in a nice little folder, and I'm taking it to his office next week and putting it on his desk, and then I will leave. And then stuff will happen. I don't know about that part.
I think that's a lot of people are in your same shoes, but I saw a couple women in the chat that were actually working on their taxes as they were chatting. And at Careful Sense, Carrie Smith is saying stuff, commenting that's sad and true, that most people spend more money on cable TV than they do on financial planning. So that's
That is
That's
scary.
the exact quote that Britney used, but I don't know if it's scary. Like, it's scary in that we are all focusing on entertainment, but I understand where people are coming from. I'm the same way. I would much rather do something that makes me feel good in the present than do something that will be good for me probably in the future and make me feel good. And it's just about the mindset. And that's why I like Britney, because she brings in the two sides of the mind where you're like, okay, I wish I could do this, and it's all like, you know, the idea that you attract what you think about, and I'm very much about that. So I like that Britney melds both of them together. I think it makes financial planning less scary, and it feels better to be doing it.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, I would also rather buy new shoes than pay my electric bill, but I still need to pay my electric bill, like, on a smaller scale, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that we kind of all have to, like, put on our big girl panties and suck it up.
Well, and I think it's different. You always make this entertaining. So I don't think it's just about, like, for a YFE though, it's not just about spending money on like fun and luxury things, cable, shoes, whatever it is. It's also, I feel like a lot of us are putting tons and tons of money into our business, right? Where it's a never ending hole of money, our businesses. And I think a number of women, Jules is one of them, and a few other people have talked about, you have to ask what you're worth. And Donna and Nyla talk about this. A lot of coaches make sure that you're asking for what you're worth. And Britney brought it up. One of my takeaways was finding the niche that is, you know, who you want to serve, being very specific. And the pumpkin plan talked about this, right? That we need to find people that will directly fit into our specific, what's going to make us the highest profit, make us the most enjoyable or most happy, and that's going to grow our business in the way we want it. So that was definitely a takeaway from me. For me, did you, as far as like the woo-woo stuff and planning goes in business, what are your favorite resources? I know Britney was saying, okay, like talking about little apps here and there, and I talked about this book. Did you read this book?
I have not read it, and Jules was talking about it maybe being the next book in the book club, which is exactly what I need because I really want to read it, but it's like on the list. I like the woo-woo stuff. It's one of the things I really like about Marie Forleo is she kind of brings the woo-woo stuff and the practical stuff together. I really like when that comes together.
Code word?
Oh yeah, my dad. We're family business. The producer is my dad. He is asking, is woo-woo a female code word? What do you think, Stacey?
Yes, for hippy dippy. That's what my husband calls it. It's hippy dippy stuff.
Well, it's funny. Well, what does woo-woo mean to you?
Woo-woo? I am not a particularly religious person, so woo-woo to me does not mean like faith-based or anything like that. Woo-woo to me is a feeling of being comfortable and happy in what I do and who I serve and who I work with. And that was something that evolved in my business, and I finally found like probably mid to late last year, and was sort of the catalyst for my rebrand. So that's kind of what the woo-woo means to me. It's just sort of being in a happy place with yourself and your life and your environment.
I think that's a good definition of it. So as far as the resources go, we mentioned May Cause Miracles. Is there any other books? Like, how did you find out about this stuff?
I actually found out about Gabby through a Marie Forleo episode.
On her Marie TV stuff when she interviewed her?
Yeah, she interviewed her on Marie TV. I think that was last year. I'm trying to think of what other woo-woo stuff I really follow. I think those are probably the only two that Oh, Danielle Laporte. She's pretty woo-woo-y. I like her a lot.
She's very woo-woo-y.
I wanna read her Big Beautiful Book Plan.
Has anyone
checked that out? Let's see it in the Twitter. Big Beautiful Book Plan. Is it worth picking up? Yes, no.
Stacey, will you monitor the Twitter too?
I am. I'm trying to read it. Woo-woo equals hippy dippy. Oh, I got a shout out for that. My husband will be excited.
So at Careful Sense is saying that she votes yes on that book too. It's on her bookshelf, but she hasn't had a chance to read it. At Careful Sense, I'm assuming you mean this book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then at you, Bren. Am I pronouncing that right? Bren, Breyn. Brain? No. Bryn.
Sure.
She says, woo-woo is my way of life. I find most of my sources from Super Soul Sunday. Oh, with Oprah! Yeah, wasn't she on Oprah?
Yeah, with Marie Forleo.
Yes, and it's like Bryn. Okay, yeah, producer was right.
And
Bryn.
Carrie from Careful Sense also said she saved about 25% of each check from my business into a tax savings account. because Jules was asking how much people save for their taxes and if they save throughout the year.
25% of her what account?
Of each check from her business into a tax savings account.
Does she, okay, this is a good question then. So 25% of each check, does she account for that and her expenses? Is that like listed out so that when she charges someone the taxes, that's a line item within her each project?
I don't know. And Jules says she says 50% of what she makes.
I think that's an interesting thing to talk about, that type of stuff.
I think so too.
It is pretty technical, but you know what? These are the things that I don't feel like there's too many people talking about, right? If Carrie wants to talk about it, she can. If not, it is kind of an uncomfortable money type of a thing. I think it's interesting.
I think it's interesting too.
Yeah, so question number 2 that we put out on Twitter is, what are your favorite resources for the woo-woo side of business? Does anyone listen to Dwayne, what's his name? Dwayne, it's on this book. Wayne Dyer, right? Wayne W. Dyer? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
Dyer, yes. Okay, at you, Bryn, is saying Wayne Dyer. Yes. Did I tell you this? I got an Audible book with him. Okay, so Inc. or Forbes, I think it was Forbes, had the Spanx lady, and her name just totally escaped me. Sarah Blakely. She was on
amazing.
She was on as a new billionaire, and one of the things she recommended was, as a teenager, she had a couple things that happened to her young in life, and yes, thank you, at you, Bryn. It's Sarah Blakely. She was talking about Wayne Dyer. Am I saying his name right? For some reason that sounds really wrong. So anyway, she's recommended that book. She said everyone should listen to him, and she had like his series on. So anyway, I got one of his like best of pieces on Audible, and I really enjoyed it because it was very philosophical. It felt like I was in a philosophy class. There's a couple books lately that I've read like that, and I enjoyed it because it was a little bit of woo-woo and law of attraction, but it also stemmed really from great philosophers that you would study in school. So I really enjoyed it. If anyone else has read his stuff, let me know what ones are good. At you, Bryn is saying she's watched all of his YouTube videos, and he's awesome too. All right. So, Stacy, what should question number 3 be?
Question number 3. I don't know. People have to answer question number 2 first.
I know. Maybe people just don't do the woo-woo stuff.
I don't know. I think that question number 3 should be about, do you have someone currently that handles your bookkeeping? If so, how did you find them? Mostly because I need a bookkeeper. Only have a tax accountant right now. So I would like your suggestions. Just give me recommendations in the tweet chat.
Oh, that is a good question. Did you hear that, Stacey?
That is a good question.
Did you have that on for everyone to hear? Okay, so producer was asking, how many of us actually take a paycheck out of a real paycheck out of our businesses? Does anyone? I love it when I meet with people and they're talking about their business and like what they do, and I'm just like, I think there's a misperception between a business bringing in a lot of revenue and people actually like affording to be able to live off of their business.
I don't officially cut myself a check, but I do transfer money and mark it as my income out of my business account. Does that count? No? Yeah? I hope so.
Oh, she can't see me. No. Producer says I don't think so. So, okay, let's pause. We're gonna put a pin in it, and we'll go to question number 4 shortly. But question number 3 was: do you have someone currently working on your books? Who have you outsourced to when it comes to finances? And in the chat, Stacy Harris. Actually, let me see. All right, so in the chat we've got Careful Sense at Careful Sense on Twitter saying she's a bookkeeper by day. Stacy, did you know that?
I do actually know that because I've worked with Carrie, and I should probably just hire Carrie because I like talking to her so much. Carrie, send me an email. I like when this happens during the YFE show. People make these kind of connections where they get to work together and like do that kind of stuff. It's my favorite part.
I think it's great too. So, as far as How do you pay your bills? Jules Young Tiger is asking if you don't take a paycheck. And I think this is an interesting part of being a young woman. So I think there's a difference when you're bootstrapping a business and you're putting all of the profit from the business back into the business and you're not paying yourself. You have to have some kind of capital before doing that. You have to have someone else that's supporting you, be it a husband, be it your parents, be it an investor, or someone that's putting money into your business. But if you have you haven't raised any type of funds, you haven't done any kind of loan from the bank or whatever it is, you're very much, working off of your own savings or your own whatever it is to get this business going. And I think that's something that there's a bit of a difference, right, in women.
I'm not going to say that.
Okay. It's a different feeling when I get to a table and I'm talking to women and they're like, you have to pay yourself. And I understand I need to pay myself, but I also need my business to grow. So putting money in to make sure that, okay, well, I might be eating ramen noodles for the next week, that at least I'm able to hire someone or have something fulfilled that will make it grow to that next point. And maybe there's...
Go ahead.
Maybe there's a difference between just being strategic about it versus just throwing money into a hole, right?
I like what Jules says on Twitter. There's a difference between being a bootstrap business and a charity. You're running a business.
I don't know. What do you think about that being a charity? Because let's make sure that we're clear about this. The charity part, so you're putting money into a business because you're trying to make it grow. You're putting it into marketing, etc., or some kind of investment, right, where you're putting the profits back into the business. Versus where if you have no overhead and you're not trying to grow in any specific way, then giving yourself a paycheck makes sense, right? Because you're a solopreneur, you're someone that's building a one-man, you're self-employed.
I think.
Can you put yourself on? Because this is a male perspective, a mature male perspective.
Maybe rather than saying it's a charity, we don't want to run a business like a hobby.
A hobby, yeah.
Yeah.
You really want to run a business as a business.
Mm-hmm.
In which case you are intentionally trying to make money and grow your business. If you're just doing it as a hobby, then you're never going to get anywhere.
But I agree with Jules. It's really hard to remind yourself sometimes as a female. I get into this point where I'm trying to help everyone, right? But there is a difference between helping people and learning from your mistakes and...
By the way, there's a new book that I'm reading, which I would recommend to all of you, the Personal MBA.
Oh, I read through a little bit of it and it was really good.
Because that's really talking to you about making a business rather than a charity or a hobby or anything else. It really makes you focus on the idea of making money.
Yeah.
I like that.
And
creating value and making money, I should say, because you really have to create value in a business and then gain an income from that, at least eventually.
And at the wardrobe code is saying, seems to me that making your business grow is paying yourself, just maybe for the future. And yeah, no, okay, so going back, maybe I'm just missing something she's saying, but, and it is about paying yourself. I agree with that. Like, I totally understand, but at the same time, if you need, okay, I think we're just talking about different industries or different types of entrepreneurs. If you're trying to build something that has infrastructure that you have to purchase additional servers for, you have to purchase additional hardware for, you have to buy inventory, you have to hire specific people. If you're the person that's going to be benefiting long term as the entrepreneur that's getting a dividend or something like that at the end of the quarter, that's, you're trying to make sure that your profit margin is there, you might not be paying yourself directly to begin with because you're going to put that salary back into the business to finance the expenses that you need in order to build that business bigger, right? Yeah, expansion. If you're a solopreneur, that might not be the case, right? So if you have no overhead, if you have nothing that you need in order to build it up, and it sounds like that is the way that most business owners want to go, right? I hear a lot of people that's like the freedom businesses or the passive income kind of businesses. So I think there's definitely a place for that. And if you're building a passive income business and putting all this time into it and you're not paying yourself, there's obviously something wrong there, right?
Jules makes a good point. Would men agree with the help everyone mentality, or would they invest in themselves? So, male point of view, chimed in here.
Say that once more.
Would men agree with the help everyone mentality, or would they invest in themselves?
Those who help themselves get the most help.
What?
That's a good point, I guess.
Those that help themselves get the most help? Oh, it's like the oxygen mask.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
That makes sense.
No?
If you don't help yourself, no one else is going to. It's kind of like taking it back to the guest tonight. If you don't plan for your financial future, no one else is going to.
That's absolutely true.
Okay, but what does that have to do with financing a business?
Well, if you don't finance your business, no one else is gonna.
Oh, is that a different question?
Jules was asking
Okay.
something different.
Okay.
I
Would you
was really
help
lucky because my business didn't take a lot of overhead. My there's not a lot of things I had to buy, really. It's expanded and I've added more things as my business has developed. I also have a husband who has a quote-unquote real job. So when I got started, I did not have to immediately try to make enough money that we could support our family, because I came off of being a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years. But our lifestyle has definitely changed since I've owned the business, and I do have an income that is on par, if not slightly above, what I would be making if I went out and worked a quote-unquote real job, and I get to do it in much more comfortable shoes. So for me, I do not officially cut myself a check, but I should probably. I mark it that it's my salary when it gets transferred out. I'm going to pretend that counts.
I like it. It's all good. I think everyone's had some great perspectives. That was a good question about the paycheck and how you pay yourself. It's a lot to think about as a business owner, as a young woman who's trying to build a business that wants to be financially independent. I know there's a number of women that I've spoken with that we've had on the show where they've come out and said, hey, I live with my parents because I'm not making any money at the moment. But 3 years from now, their plan is to sell their company and make millions off of it. So there's definitely people that are sacrificing with that future game or the goal and plan. And I think you see that a lot, especially within technology and especially with women who are building like retail businesses or something that is capital heavy, right? Or what's the term, the phrase, whatever it is, where they have to put a lot of money up front and they don't get paid for a while. So it's awesome, good food for thought. Stacey, you never make an after party boring. Thank you so much for being on with us today. And we didn't get to talk too much about your business other than that the consulting packages are cool. Up there.
I'm here every week.
And again, all right, so make sure that people know where to follow you afterwards, because Stacey, if you go to her Facebook page, you can find out all of the stuff as far as the new Facebook and Google+. And are you going to be writing a blog post about it or doing anything like that where people can find out more?
It is already written. If you go to hitthemicmarketing.com and then click on Open Mic News, it's the very first blog post because I wrote it this afternoon. Facebook.com/hitthemicmarketing. On Twitter, I'm at hitthemic, or I'm at the Stacey Harris. You can find all of it at hitthemicmarketing.com.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Stacey. I'll make sure that we share your blog post too. Stacey's done some incredible things and her team is awesome. So again, thank you for being on the show. And next Thursday's show, we've got Corey Reddy of, a number of different nonprofits, but she came from a very prestigious event planning company that she actually sold her share of. And so it'll be really interesting to speak with her. She's being interviewed by Tessa Rowe of YFE City Seattle Coordinator, and also she's an event planner herself that works with corporations and nonprofits to put on events. So it'll be a really fun show for that one. If you missed part of this chat or a part of the show tonight, go to youtube.com/YF Entrepreneur, and you can find it there or on youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for the after party and showing up for the live stream. We'll see you next Thursday at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern.